Hey YouTubers, today I'm bringing you guys a deck profile on Chris Michaelis' hero deck. So, go ahead.
Okay guys, my name is Chris Michaelis. I'll be profiling a deck that everyone's starting to run right now, Heroes. I decided to go with the Destiny Hero engine. What I'll do is I'll show you all the cards, and then after that I'll explain the reasons why I picked the cards I did and the reasons why I didn't pick certain cards. And then I will explain to you like certain options you can go with it. So the first card is obviously the new card, Elemental Hero Shadow Mist. I don't really have to explain what it does, everybody knows, but if you don't know, when the card special summon, it can search for any mass change card, and if it's sent to the graveyard, you can search for any hero card. You have to understand that this card can only use this effect once per turn, so you can't search for mass change off like a hero lives and then send it to the graveyard after you mass change into Dark Law or whatever other mass hero you choose for, and then try to get a search effect. Since I went to the Destiny Hero engine, I used 3 Diamond Dudes, which you'll see the reason on the spells that I use. 3 Destiny Hero Malicious, 2 Plague Spreader Zombie, and then for the one-ofs, Armageddon Knight, Elemental Hero Bubble Man, and Summoner Monk. For the spells, I chose 3 Reinforcement the Army. Obviously, you're going to run it, the whole deck as heroes, except for other certain tech choices.
Yeah.
3 Mass Change. A funny thing about this card is the new card that came out in the structure deck doesn't specify face up. So that's something that might come up with people.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
People in locals are starting to say that you can actually target the card face down. I haven't followed up on that ruling. That's something I'm going to look up later on. But that's something that people might not know about. 3 Destiny Draws for the Destiny Hero engine. 2 Hero Lives. I was using 3. I decided just because there's other cards that I wanted to fit in, I dropped it down to 2. The reason why I dropped it down to 2 instead of 3 is I wanted to fit in a second Forbidden Lance. This card's really good in the mirror match. It stops them from doing their mass changes, and it enables you basically, since most mass hero decks don't run a lot of protection, you want to keep your Dark Law on the field or your Synchros or other XYZs. I only run 2 MSTs. I know people say it's bad because of Cleave Forts and all like that, but honestly, at the rate that this build goes and the speed that it goes, I don't want to draw MSTs dead a lot of times, because you draw like 2 of these at the same time and you don't have a card. This MT doesn't really do anything.
Makes sense.
For the one-ofs, 1 Allure, 1 Regeki, 1 Soul Charge, and this is the one card that I kind of go back and forth with. It could have been either a Snatch Steal, it could have been a Lightning Vortex. There's a couple of choices that I was debating on, but in the end, after testing, I just went back to Book of Moon. And like I said, I'll explain the spells later on when I explain with the Diamond Dude effects.
Okay.
For traps, I know a lot of people don't use some of these cards, but I use 1 Compulse. Well, I think everybody uses this. I use Finish Chains. 2, a lot of people have commented that they prefer Breakthrough Skill. I just kind of like this card because it lets me abuse Diamond Dude. So if their monster can't attack me, I can try to do Diamond Dude once more again. That's the only reason why, or else I probably would use Breakthrough Skills.
Cool.
I said 1 Compulse. 2 Vanity's Emptiness. I'm not even going to explain that card. Everybody knows what this does.
Yeah.
Especially in the mirror match. If they don't have MSTs, in the mirror match, from the builds that I've seen on YouTube and people I've seen at locals, if they don't have an MST and you have this up, and you have an XYZ, a Fusion, or something like that up, they lose.
They're screwed pretty much.
They lose. And the 2 cards I decided to add in after a lot of testing was 2 Wing Blasts. And the only reason why I added these cards was it helped me to mitigate cards like Malicious or Plague Spreader Zombie that are sitting in my hand. Okay.
That's pretty cool.
For the extra decks are going to vary a lot, but this is kind of like based on my locals. So I went with 3 Dark Laws, 1 Acid. That's your mass hero lineup. 1 Ragna Zero. That's strictly just for Cleave Forts. Normally,
for Cleave Forts, yeah.
Yep. If Cleave Forts weren't run so much in my locals, I wouldn't even run this card. I freaking hate this card. I don't like it. 1 Castell, 1 Blade Armor Ninja, 1 Augusta Emerald, 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 Lava Chain. So if I wasn't running this card right here, this card would probably be a 2nd Castell.
2nd Castell?
Yeah, that's what I would do, probably. And then for my Synchros, I run Starter Spark Dragon, Royal Guardian, one Red Dragon Heart Archfiend, and my favorite card, Beals. I run 2.
Nice.
This card's really good.
So what made you go with Beals?
I like Beals because you only have cards like Phoenix Chain, Breakthrough Skill, Deep Prison, Wing Blast, Karma Cut, yeah, that's pretty much it. Other than that, like, people can't kill this card. It just kind of sits there.
Yeah, they can't Dark Hole Regeki or anything, right?
No, Dark Hole Regeki. I mean, they can Snatch Steal it, but I run Lances and things like that. I just found this to be a really powerful card. Originally, I was running a Stardust Dragon and a Spark Dragon, but there's really not a lot of mass destruction cards, so I took out the Stardust Dragon just for the Spark. Plus, this can protect, like, the Emptiness and things like that. And it also protects Dark Law. So that's why I like this card. So if they Regeki me, I'll just, instead of, if they have another Dark Law in the field, and then they go Regeki, and I try to use Stardust Dragon's effect, Stardust gets banished, I lose a card. But if I go Spark, they go Regeki, I just protect my Dark Law, and then this dies. Or I can protect this, actually, let my Dark Law die, and then their Dark Law can't attack over this, because he's 25. Okay.
Cool.
So, the reason why, overall, I prefer this build, with the Diamond Dudes, in this deck with my current lineup, this guy can obviously net me free pluses, whether it be a free Soul Charge, Regeki, Allure. Well, you still have to banish one, but still. Hero Lives.
You have to pay the life point cost either, huh?
Nope. Destiny Draws. And 3 Rotas.
Nice.
So those are all essentially free cards. I really like this card, especially when your graveyard's full with a bunch of like Malicious Plague, or you have a bunch of level 4s or XYZs. Obviously, you can't soul charge your fusions, but other than that, you can soul charge everything else but your fusions.
Right.
So some people who are not familiar with some of the plays in this deck, or they're asking me, why are you running Plague and Malicious? People tend to realize, or don't realize, that you can actually mass change Destiny Hero Malicious into Dark Law.
Yeah.
So, that's the reason why I tend to run cards like Wing Blast. So if this card's sitting in my hand and it's dead, this card can actually help me do really, really big plays. It's not uncommon, based on the way this build is made, for me to generally go into one turn this, or one turn this, and then that. That's really common right there.
That's big.
So Lava Chain, Dark Law, Beals. That's usually what you see, this. Or sometimes you'll see this. But this is the standard opening one turn play. Or sometimes you might see this instead. Like that. That's the most common place.
That this deck can do, right?
Yeah, in a one turn play.
Nice.
So, let me see here. Now, if people want, we can do another video and I can show you the plays.
Yeah.
It just becomes really, really, really time consuming to show every single combo that you can do with the deck. Now, as far as the deck in the current meta right now, I haven't had a problem with Cleaforts. I was testing with somebody and they spammed the field a bunch of Cleaforts. I summoned this guy and just destroyed their field. So there's the main row. And he tried to use Skill Drain, and luckily I didn't have MST, but I had Lance. So he lost all his monsters.
Wow.
Other than that, in the mirror match, this card's really good. In the mirror match, a lot of guys don't run this card, but you have to remember, Forbidden Lance stops them from doing their cards.
Yeah.
Now, you don't go Forbidden Lance to weaken their monster and attack. They can just chain their card after that. So you wait till they do a mass change play, you chain Forbidden Lance, and then their monster just dies and they lose 2 cards. So it's a 2-for-1. So that's the reason why I like this card. And, a lot of people have complained to me that played the deck. Dark Law is, 2400 body, but that's actually kind of small.
Yeah.
So you need cards like this to protect it.
Right, to decrease monsters' attack powers, right?
Mm-hmm. This deck is more of a turbo build. It's not really like a stun or control. That's the reason why this deck runs very, very, very little traps. So when I chose the trap lineup, I had to be really picky, I guess you could say. So that's the reason why I went with the essentials. So these are all up into interpretation. Some people might not like.
So actually, why didn't you go with bottomless?
I don't like bottomless because basically, to me, all these cards I can draw and use them whenever. These cards, I guess you could say I could draw it at a wrong time and it's not good, but this card's a game breaker. So
yeah, the vanities.
This is not even part of the rule. So let's just take these out because no matter what, like you still have to run these. In my eyes, you do. So in the mirror match, unless they have MST or like a Dust Grenade or something like that, they're gonna lose. So that's the reason why I like this card. Like I said before earlier in the video, I like these because they protect Diamond Dude. So I can abuse my Diamond Dudes. Or else I'd be running Breakthrough Skill. This card is just good. It gets rid of fusions. It's almost like a defusion in the deck.
Pretty much.
But this is just overall better. And this became a necessity for me, I guess you could say. Because when I was drawing Maliciouses or Plagues, and I had like say a Malicious in the grave, and I had a Plague in hand, but I already summoned another card because it was a more optimal play, I couldn't make a Synchro. So if I had this, I could get rid of a card on their side of the field, and then I can make my Synchro play. So that's why this card became kind of popular to me. Or if I drew like a Plague early in the game, I would set this Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, and then if they didn't MST or do something like that, I can activate it, pitch the Malicious, and then the next turn, if I didn't have a Shadow Mist or a Plague, I could special this card, mass change it into a Dark Law. So that's why I like this card. As far as ways that you can change this deck, I guess you could say, as I mentioned before, there's other ways to run this deck. You can use Miracle Fusions, you can use Alias and things like that, but I just found those cards kind of slower, and I don't like Mass Change second or Form Change. I do like Mass Charge, because essentially it's a +1.
Yeah.
So you go Mass Charge, you get your Fusion back, and you get the Mass Change back, so it's a +1. So it's a card that I would like to put in. Also because I can flop it with Diamond Dude. I just can't find room for it right now, just in the way that this deck's running.
And so, how many cards in the deck?
This is 40.
40 exact?
40 exact. Yep, 40 exact. It's, ideally, if I could put every card that I want in this deck would be 42. And actually, running this deck at 42, it's a huge difference. Even making this deck at 41, I don't know, I find you could probably run this deck at 41, but I found just a straight 40 was perfect. There's a lot of other cards you can use in this deck, and there's a lot of things that you can side in this deck. A lot of people use different things. I think Veiler might become more prevalent. It's actually a really good card. If people use Miracle Fusions, and it's a light. You need another hero and a light, so you'll have your light. But this is actually really devastating, especially if they're going early with a Summoner Monk play or Dark Law play, and they try to get, like they go Hero Lives, they go Dark Law, Elemental Hero, Shadow Mist, and then you Veiler it. They just paid $4,000, 4,000 life points, 4,000 life points to summon a 1,000 tech beat stick. So
Dang.
I just don't run this card because I'm deathly afraid to draw this late.
Yeah.
And I can't do nothing with it.
It's a level 1 tuner too.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So, other than that, I mean, you can run cards like Upstart Goblin in the Diamond Dude variant, but I really don't want to give my opponent 1,000 life points to help them mitigate the fact that they played Hero Lives. So that's the only reason why I don't run that card. I don't run Call the Haunted because I think it's kind of slow. I don't want to wait one turn to do my setups. I'm actually trying to do my setup right away. Another card I think might see play inside deck. You see in the OCG is Mind Crush. This could be kind of good, but every time I've played this card, as long as I've been playing this game, I never get this card when I need it. It's always good in theory, like, oh, Mind Crush, I'll just devastate my opponent. Well, you know what? Chris Michaelis never draws it when he needs it, so I don't use this card. It might be pretty good. People have talked about using this card, Kinetic Soldier. I don't think it's good at all.
No.
I don't think it's good at all. Maybe for your locals, but it's deck specific just for heroes. I don't like to side deck cards where I'm using one card specifically for one deck. I don't have any on me right now, but I do like Defusions. So Defusion is a really good card. You can stop your opponent from doing a mass change play, and then if you defusion their monster and you have, let's say, a Shadow Mist in your graveyard, you can special summon your Shadow Mist, as long as you have the materials, the monsters that they used. but it's a really good card overall. You know, the deck is still, in my eyes, it's still a new format, so there's a lot of cards that you can still use. Like I was saying, Mass Charge right here. This is a good card. Another good card too, that I'm debating on citing highly because Shadal's is still a deck, is right here. Because it does affect Cleaforts, it does affect Shadal's, and it does affect Mask Heroes now. So if they go Mass Change and you activate this card, they can't activate Mass Change anymore. And if their deck is strictly just Mass Change like mine, they lose. So you discard one card, activate the card, discard one spell card, which my deck is mostly spells. Their Mass Change is destroyed, and they can no longer use it in that match. So now if they're just pure Mass Change, like I said, like my deck is, they're reliant upon Synchros and XYZs. They can't bring out any of their fusions. So
that's actually a really good tag.
Yeah, I like it. It's pretty decent. So other than that, I'll show you guys the lineup one more time. If you guys want to see it, put it all, pull it all out, and you can scan it so they can all see it. The whole lineup, because some people don't want to scroll through videos and look at a deck after. Look at the one that's over here. I did test Dark Arm in this deck. I didn't like it. I know the OCG, there was a build that ran 2 Dark Arms. If I had 2 Dark Arms, I probably would, because if I draw them dead, at least I can lure them out still. But until we get 2 Dark Arms, or 3 Dark Arms, I won't run Dark Arm. And it's getting tight. I guess you can just do an out screen, of the deck. So can you get it all?